Here we go.
Go.
Nope,
Um,
there's always one more okay. It's like, okay.
okay, here we are
Here we-
starting the library board meeting, January 12th at 6 p.m. Roll call. Ahmed Fatherman,
Susan Faust?
Jeff Gunderson.
no, not quite here yet. Jonathan Shambroom, and Ange Ahern. We're going to start with approval of consent calendar, approval of minutes. Anyone has comments, questions, or edits?
Nope, I think it looks, I move to approve.
Susan, will you second? All right, all in favor? Aye. Anybody approve, against? None. So, minutes of December 8th have been approved. Item 3, public comments. Do we have anyone online?
There is no one online to comment.
All right, so we will move to item 4. Board reports and comments. Anyone had any library related observation in the past month?
Do you want to report on the brigade?
That
I
one.
Or is
maybe
that on here?
I'll defer to Armel, but I might suggest to do that during the library board's role in opening our library.
Yes, I think we should, it's related to
Yeah.
what we're gonna do, so we'll do that. So, directorial report.
Okay, that was quick. The last month, we've really been focusing in on trying to move, so we're trying to weed books, making a map of the collection and that sort of thing. We have some small events planned for January, like we're keeping up the book club. We're still doing the craft a room and we're doing our story times, but we don't anticipate to do any programming in March. Like our regular party kind of going forward. So that's kind of a little big transition for us. The second thing, just on the new building, the big thing they're trying to work on is getting the basically the certificate of occupancy.
Mhm.
And then once they get that certificate of occupancy, the furniture can be delivered. And then it kind of would grow, and then it's probably like a 4 to 6 week process for punch lists and, you know, all the final details. You always are scared to throw out dates in these public meetings, but at our last meeting for the building, if everything did line up correctly, they would get that certificate February 11th. And then it would be legal to occupant. They might have to get a temporary one. That could slip a few days, but the new building it's powered up. If you notice, there's the HVAC's working in there, the lighting's working in there. Still have to do things like move the network in, and there's still a lot of work to do. But it's just, that's kind of where the building is, and I think it's a good spot to be in. Even though we don't have everything fully worked out yet on each detail, but I think it'll come together, and we've met about with a moving plan for the day to move what we have here and how to plan out that. So we've had those types of meetings. So probably, I think here's our. So I think those are kind of the big next steps with the building, and everything seems on target. So I was just kind of basically to summarize real quick, I think we're trying to get we're on target to try to get a occupancy permit on, which would be February 11th. A few things could still fall apart on that, and it still needs to line up, so it's not official yet. And after that date, we can bring in furniture, bring in other items like that. Right now, the building's it's powered on its own, has its own internet, the HVAC's working. So we're moving along really well. We're still working on those final dates, though.
Who issues the
Oh,
certificate?
hang on, I'm gonna make a note for
Oh.
the record that Jonathan Shambroom and Ange Ahern just joined us.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Who issues that certificate?
The city of Larkspur,
Oh, so
the building department here. So it should be, and they're on the calls and it won't be, it's not really a surprise. So everyone's kind of working towards that goal.
Out of curiosity, anything happen related to the series of storms we've had with the creek behind and the new roof? Or-
Nothing to the library related. The library is actually on strong clay soil, which is very fortunate, like Redwood High is all on wetlands and that's all infill around there, but we're kind of on that parcel. So nothing really, the landscaping work kind of slowed down, they didn't really work on the landscaping and the area was wet, but nothing.
No damage,
No.
no related to the
Yeah.
flood though.
That's good, because that's the extremity of a flood, so
yeah,
if the library stays dry through that, we're in good shape.
Yeah, we might be the warming center for
Yeah.
everyone
Right.
on the internet.
That's right.
Yeah.
Come read a dry book.
Yeah.
That would be a good thing, but we're at. You want me, there'll be fewer events through the month of January.
In February, and we probably won't have any events in March. Kind of assuming we're gonna move and need to plan, so we don't want to plan anything. We still might keep the regular story times going, because that's a little easier. Because we're here facilitating, but our last planned event, I didn't say this, is probably gonna be Saturday, February 21st, when we have the lion dancers come.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, for the kids, that's kind of an annual event, so we thought we should do that one, and we'll still be open February 21st.
All right, any questions for?
are they from a local school or?
It's they're local from Marin. So you'll see they do this around in various towns and cities.
And they do them at some of the schools too.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes lion dancers show up for openings of things. I don't know.
Well, they do it around the new year, so it might be a
Yeah,
little.
no, I
late.
know. No, but sometimes they are included in openings when it's not the new year.
Well, that's,
Yeah, they'll do that. And they'll be excited because we have to have them inside, so next year when they're at the new library, we can have them outside and it'll be a lot
Yeah.
better.
is that it?
Yeah, that's really.
Good, that was a short report. Thank you. We're gonna move on to business item 6.1, initial tutor policy discussions. Thank you for sending those, and then both in the county and, 2 other libraries. Anyone wants to, do you want to start?
Yeah, I thought I'd give like a little intro. So what I'm hoping to do with the tutor policy, and I worked with the one at Marin, is we want to support education and tutoring in the library. We think that's an important goal. So I just kind of want to make sure everyone here kind of, agrees with that. But there are some kind of considerations with tutors and the space that are somewhat unique. And we have tutors now downstairs. So the big thing with tutors is we not to have them be disruptive to other aspects of the library operations. And then also understanding that they're a part of, we want to support them with space, but we also aren't managing their day-to-day operations is very important. And that we're really not responsible for liability or supervising their tutories. So what I'm kind of thinking for this library, and this is to get your reaction, is kind of restricting the tutoring to the 4 study rooms that'll be there. We're still working on a system on how people would reserve those. There's a system called LibCal that Tiburon uses to manage their rooms and quite a few libraries. And I've kind of gotten a quote. So the tutors would work in those rooms, which would probably have a capacity limit of 1 to 2 people. And then we also have 3 booths, if you will, next to the diner, next to the teen room. They're almost like diner style. So that would be kind of 7 areas where people could tutor. And we would try to exclude tutors from tutoring kind of in the main room tables, the quiet room, and in the children's room. And they'll need to reserve the space, work that through. The tutors would also, you remember with some of the outside plan, have outdoor spaces. And there'll be tables and chairs out there, so they'd be welcome to tutor out there because there's less noise and it's less distracting. I've seen some of the tutors who are down here over at the town center tutoring. So that might be part of what we do, but we also want to reserve tables for children, families, and not have them take over. The other thing is when we was at the county, we don't want people doing large instruction, like group instruction, like we did have a tutor in Puerto Vallarta who was doing language exercises. And so that became very distractive because it was like call and response. And for some people, that was, for a lot of people, most everyone, it was too much.
Mhm.
So we want to kind of keep that. And then we also don't want to have, I think, financial transactions and people
Mhm.
giving the people money in the library as a business, that should be done somewhat off-site. And we're not giving change and, all that kind of thing. And we don't bring supplies. Most tutors, especially here, I think so far, are good, but there are probably like 10%, just like everywhere else, that are a little rogue. And so at some of the other libraries, they had to develop a little stricter policy. So we'd like to get your feedback on maybe what I said here. Then I'll come back, write something. So I'd like to turn it over to you.
Yeah, the one question I have on the last point on the financial transactions, I totally understand not wanting to have cash being handed around. But I think the nature of it is mostly that these tutors are gonna be accepting Venmo and like Zelle and things like that. And so if we wanna specify that, I mean, it's hard to even moderate any of that, I guess. And if there's an issue with that, or it's just like cash being handed around.
I would say from like at the county, kind of our perspectives, we didn't want to have people see it more because they don't know what's happening. They may not know it's a tutoring situation, and we don't want to have people promoting their individual business. So we were kind of more in the sense of,
Any
is
transaction
it-
should be held outside of the library.
yeah. So if people are doing, Zelle, Venmo or whatever, that'll be on them. A couple of weeks ago, I heard someone, go, I'll Venmo you. And
Yeah.
that was like, we don't want to maybe hear that. And I, like in that case, if we had this policy, I might have just kind of mentioned to them.
Yeah, one of them was
softly.
saying that no transaction, or no transaction can take place within the library. So if they want to do it on the parking lot, that's up to them.
I think that's right. I
It's
think
one
we
of
should
them,
be explicit and say cash transactions are prohibited
or any transaction.
and discussion or execution of non-cash transactions can't take place within the library.
Okay.
Well, they
That's-
can
And
give
that-
cash, they can give cash on the parking lot. We just don't want transaction in the
Yeah, I agree
library,
with
whatever
that.
they are.
I
Just
agree.
make it simple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. No financial transactions umbrella, regardless of whether it's cash or electronic, and anything like that needs to be done outside of the
Or
library.
inside the library. We don't even mention outside, because if we say outside, then that we condone it. We said.
In the tables or,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I
If we
agree.
say-
Just say what we prohibit. No transactions inside the library,
Yes.
Mhm.
period.
Period.
And
The
then
rest,
Yeah,
read between the lines, do whatever you feel comfortable
I
doing.
think
Yeah.
that's good.
I
And
think
I like-
that the,
financial I just say I like financial transactions as a
Right.
phrase.
the Marin County policy just had a very good, summary of the other two that you sent. And I kind of liked the way it was organized, where at first it just gives a guideline, then the prohibition, saying this is what, this is how it's organized. And then specifically go to, by the way, those are, instead of just going straight away to don't, no, being negative. So I just thought it was a good one. The other thing I liked from Plainville, where that they were giving a definition of what tutoring is. And it might be overkill, but no,
There were two things in Plainville that I flagged because in the definition, they
Mhm.
include this, the person receiving tutoring must be a student. And that one or both of the tutor and the tutee has to be a resident.
yeah,
And I don't know that we want to limit that.
I don't think so.
I don't think.
I don't think we want to have either
No.
restrictions.
No,
Because, I mean,
no.
like of what, Larkspur? That doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
That'll be too hard to enforce.
Yeah, I think that we should have, maybe, tutors provide instruction per private agreement so that we clearly reiterate that it's not,
emphasis on private,
that it's not a library.
condoned or
or-
sanctioned or.
But it's not organized, it's not an activity that we provide, we just, and with parents and guardian of those, students, and.
Do we need to get into parent guardian of the students? I mean, a
Well-
lot of different people could
I-
tutor. It could be a
It-
teenager tutoring somebody who's older on
Right.
like how to use their phone.
With,
Yeah, but we do have like high school kids doing probably middle school kids math downstairs now, so. I would, the one thing that some of the libraries do, and the county does it too. And this is more for liability and it's not super enforced, is it's preferred the parent remains in the library
Mhm.
while the child's being tutored, and the library assumes no responsibility for children left unattended. And again, I don't know if we ever really enforce that, but it's kind of just,
Well,
not
there's
daycare.
nothing to enforce,
Or
right?
it's-
It's a
There's no
preference.
teeth if it's a preference.
Yeah.
Except the second statement is key. That's
I agree
that's,
with that, yeah.
I think they're a nice combo. The first one is
I think it's
just
like,
positioning and.
and a lot of that's gonna depend on, if it's the first tutoring session a child has with someone, maybe like
Mhm.
someone older, maybe the parent would stay, right? And just for that first one or two, and then there's like this comfort level and they don't, and I think that that's pretty reasonable. But I think having that the second part of that is definitely key, that the library doesn't assume any responsibility for children left unattended, and obviously that would, once we talk about other policies, would pervade, but,
I find that it is preferred that the parent remain is too weak. Because we do not want it to be a drop-off point where the child is dropped off and then 2 hours later, this is not a.
but then I think we need an
Mm.
age restriction on there.
That's right. That was my next point. And I was wondering do we have already a policy in place about what age can children be at the library on their own without a parent or tutor or guardian?
we don't have it quite explicit, but you might remember the board we worked on the unattended adult policy.
Mhm.
And so you can't be in our children's room if you're 8 or under. So usually libraries tend to be 8, 9, or 10 for when a child can be there unattended by
Okay.
themselves.
So I think.
So
what it-
probably 8 is our policy now, but it isn't explicitly. But I was talking with the city kind of about possibly putting that in our larger patron policy too, because how we have it now, it's a little fuzzy.
Because it's gonna be, because we have more room for tutoring, the tutoring program is gonna be in demand. And it's gonna be very tempting for some parents who have many reasons they are busy to drop off, the 6-year-old who has a tutor section in 20 minutes, and then I'll pick you up after, or right before soccer or whatever. And then we end up having young children who nobody really know who they are with, and not that they would get in trouble, but if something happens, we need to be able to just grab them and get them out of there. So whatever policy we have in terms of young children not being left in the library unattended should be linked to this one, so that it's very clear that it's across the board. If you're under 8, under 9, whatever is decided, you cannot be left
Yeah,
to meet the tutor eventually and not pick you up at some time, and then having the library being a daycare center.
yeah, I think I would do something like take out I would reword this to something like, in accordance with our general use or whatever policy, children under the age of
Whatever.
8, whatever we decide, cannot be left unattended, and the library assumes no responsibility. That second sentence, leave it in. But I think tie it back to whatever the general use.
I like that.
policy
Yeah.
says.
And make
that
sure that
makes sense.
it's
That's a good idea.
specific even during tutoring, that
Well, I think if we have it in the tutoring policy,
Yeah,
right, like.
right.
I see what you're saying, though, like tutors are not a substitute for parents,
Mm.
yeah,
I had the same thought. We reference consistency in accordance with
yeah.
the policy. The same holds true for a child receiving tutoring. Parent must be present, can't leave unattended for age.
Yeah, and maybe
Right,
we
call it out.
just specifically call out and say that the library assumes no responsibility, tutors are not,
Don't count as guardian.
yeah,
yeah.
tutors are, yeah, exactly, tutors, whatever,
Yeah.
are not a substitute for parent or guardian of a child under 8.
Yeah, that's a good phrase. Oh, maybe massage it a little bit, but
Yeah.
I understand the concept. That's a good idea.
The other question I had is that in one of those policies, I forget which one, it did mention that the access to those rooms and maybe even the outside would be first come, first serve, and that there is no reserving 16 session, like I will reserve, every Tuesday
It's not a
at 3.
conference room that you can.
That's
book.
right, it cannot be booked, and I was
Yeah.
wondering, is that something we want to do? Because in tutoring, regularity is really important, but then it means that some tutors will have the use of the space over others. And can we, now that you mentioned the outdoor tables, can these outdoor tables be not part of the reservation system? This way it is first come, first serve, and whoever wants to come with a toddler to read a book or have a snack or is not faced with, 8 tutors having booked those tables for.
Yeah, I think the only areas that we'll be able to book are the 4
Okay.
rooms. And then we'll have to look at a policy that makes sense once we have the system up and everything. Tiburon has a system where basically it's like you can reserve up to 7 days in advance. Each person can have X amount of reservations. Each person can do an hour a day, so you can set time limits within the reservation system based on demand, and I'm almost assured that all 4 will be booked every afternoon. I think trying to reserve the tables for individuals inside or out won't really work.
Okay,
But like the 3 diner tables or booths, we could probably put up a sign, tutors, this, if it becomes busy and we have to really manage space, this space is reserved for tutors 3 to 5 or whatever that might be. I'd rather not do that, but if we have to wrangle them into some place, that's one way to say this will be your area with the.
Damon, can I ask a question? If there is competition for space with tutors and just with general use, who would you consider the priority?
I think that with the rooms, that's why the reservation system will be good, because it's just who's ever reserved it first and however that would be work. Otherwise, really, it's gonna be first come, first serve to start with. And like right now, we have people who stay at the table all day. So like we have a couple individuals who come down and they're here 11 to 5 very frequently. I mean, not every day, but
Wow.
we know them. They're right here at the opening. They set up shop. And then um
I'm curious, what do they do?
Yes,
Are they working on a laptop? Are they reading?
laptop.
so it's a
Are
we
they
work,
using it like a cafe, like,
Yeah.
it's a we
and
work.
And what, and then, you can stream video or,
Mhm.
whatever you want to do. So we don't want to really make too many value judgments on how people are using the space because everyone has their own unique needs. But sometimes we'll have to get in a phase where we have to manage the space. But once we start managing the space, that becomes kind of a little bit of a challenge.
Correct, correct.
And typically like people will only like at the table, and if you think about maybe yourself, if there's a 4-seat table and there's one person with 4 seats, you could sit with that person at the other 3 seats, but people typically don't join people at a
Mhm.
table.
Mhm.
So some of that might be seeing people's comfort levels with joining that person, depending on kind of what they're doing. That'll be part of the whole space management. The new library will have more 2-people tables. We thought about that because a lot of people don't use 4-seat tables in libraries as 4. So we'll have to see, but I don't think we want to prioritize how people are using it and reserving it too much, but there will be a space. I know what happens when some of the busier libraries, like Nova, what ends up happening is people sit on the floor and will
Yeah.
start doing their
Right.
work on the floor, which isn't ideal, but that's like a half hour in extreme, kind of circumstance, and we'll have the outdoor spaces. So
So for the tutors and the reservation system, I mean, say a tutor sees kids every afternoon or Tuesday, Thursday afternoons, how much can they reserve?
it'd be whatever the policy could dictate, and then we'll
Yeah.
have to get a feeling if like we want to have, like our computers have a reservation limit. So you get it for 60 minutes a day and you can reserve it. You can have 2 reservations and you can book it up to 7 days in advance.
Okay,
So if you were to book it for next Monday or let's say this week I book it for Thursday and Friday, I can't use it Tuesday or Wednesday because my reservations have already been placed. So I think people will start to figure out how to, whatever policy we set, they'll try to manage the system for their needs based on what we've established.
but this policy that we're working on tonight is, if I understand correctly, is strictly for these 4 rooms that
And-
would be the tutoring rooms.
And I'm thinking they'll probably go to other places because not everyone's going to be able to reserve. So we have the 3 booths that are.
But those we cannot reserve.
We can't reserve
Okay,
those,
all right,
but if they're tutoring, they would still fall under that
correct.
policy.
Right, but when we were talking about availability and access, so because we have 2 different type of spaces, we might want to have a little paragraph or line that says for reservation for the 4 rooms, then, and spell out whatever you think will work, 2 reservation or whatever. And then for the booths, would be on first come, first served basis with a time limit. And we can bookmark it, just say with a time limit. We don't have to say now 45 minutes, an hour and a half. You can adjust that as you want. But just to have that, then anybody, any tutor who uses it just knows they can book those rooms or they can work at the booth, but it will be the time. And that brings me to something else I saw somewhere else, is that the tutors who are signing up are asked to sign the policy. And I thought that was not a bad thing. It's an agreement. It's
Well, how else would they know what the rules are? Like, how are we planning on socializing this?
so if they sign up online, when they sign up, whatever system could have, like everything you do,
Yeah, check.
read, check mark and sign, and it's up to all of us to really read the 15 pages
And we'd have to think about that. What we did at the county is we created the policy into a sign we put on the
Yeah.
tables. And then we kind of put them on and off. It went in waves a little bit if it's really busy, like you didn't really put it out on Saturdays. But you would put that out so on the table, they would see the policy, then you could point to and refer it to it relatively quickly. Or you kind of get to know the people, and some you might want to have a more formal introduction with the policy and explain what this is, especially as we open and they come in and want to learn.
Yeah, I like the idea of a sign going, just being able to have access to it because I think in the moment, also, if a librarian is trying to enforce something, it's difficult to, hold on, let me pull up this policy
Mhm.
that you agreed to, like, I think it just adds a lot of friction that's unnecessary.
Mhm.
I agree, yeah. Well, having the sign too, but what do you think about having it when people sign up?
Yeah, I don't
And they
think that I
reserve?
mean, I think it's fine. I think it
If
is
it's
at least a
doable
little.
on the,
Yeah, I think it's a little of a CYA, like all of those checkbox consent forms, but I
Mhm.
don't think there's any harm in having it.
well, at least it alerts people that there is a policy with rules and we care about it.
Yeah,
It does for us, I have to think about that because it is becoming a little bit of a management issue.
Mhm.
Because we don't also want to keep going, we won't, how do we track people? How long do we keep the paper for? Does
Well,
this,
that's what I'm saying, if they do it when if there is a way on the whatever app or
LibCal.
system.
oh, I see what you're
so
saying, like
basically,
you.
they
Make
can't
it
reserve the
required
room.
checkbox. It's like sometimes you
Oh.
can't submit a form. Oh, I forgot to enter my zip code. I didn't check.
Oh,
I've
that-
reviewed these terms of service. Make it required that they agree and consent to the thing, whether they've read it or not. It says I have read and agreed to, but that's our CYA, and they just can't submit. It won't go through until they check that.
When
And
they
now we know.
reserve, it's what you
Uh,
don't have to,
online.
you don't have
There-
to manage it.
But I agree, having the printed sign is helpful.
And then I guess we could do something like with the online, if you're not tutor, or if you are tutoring, blah, 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 because not, non-tutors will use the room too.
And there's might be something
So
that we want
we'll
them
put
to
that
agree to as well.
Yeah, so
I'm
it
using the
could be a
room, I'm not.
long, yeah, it could be the whole, that could be, yeah, I see. That's a
It
good
could be-
idea.
It could be two box, either one or the other. Either you check the box for usage of the room as a tutor, or you check the box for usage of the room
I
not
think
as a tutor.
simplicity rules, one checkbox.
Yeah.
I agree to the
Yeah.
terms of service. If tutoring, X, Y,
And the
and Z.
terms
If
and
not
conditions.
tutoring, if
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
tutoring, X,
Yeah.
Y, and Z. And
That's
like,
like, think, this is a little different, but similar example. So in my world at work, we have a lot of state specific stuff. And so it's like, I agree to these state, whatever. And in that hyperlink, it's all of the states and whatever state you're in is the one that's applicable to you. And so it's, similar. It's like whatever purpose suits you is
Right.
the one applicable to you, but we've
Yeah.
outlined all of the purposes here.
And you need to check
Mhm.
the box,
Okay.
or else it won't go through.
Right.
Yeah, because we'll probably have things for the room like leave in an orderly or don't,
Right.
and if you do violate this, it does kind of get to a point where you might not be able to use the room.
Right.
yes.
Right.
We don't want to start there, but at least we'll know who you are
Yeah.
Yes.
and you want to leave it orderly and
Right.
next.
Beside the tutors, who else might be wanting to request the room?
I think they'll be busy every hour almost, like people taking Zoom calls. People who just don't want to hear the ambiance noise of the library and want their own defined space.
Could it be students working on a group project?
Yeah, but the rooms themselves are small, so from a code perspective, it'd be two people, which is still okay, but then
Yeah.
they can be a little louder and
Would a
You-
parent child use it for any purpose? Could they go in there and read or
I
work on
think
something?
they could. It probably wouldn't be the initial demand, but there wouldn't be anything prohibiting a parent and child from doing it. And it might actually be a way for them to get away, depending on your child, if you like to be a more quiet space. I'm thinking it's mostly adults, but I would say yes to the
Yeah.
child, adult. Might be a couple of teens who want to work together on something.
There was another paragraph in the Marin County that no more than 3 students should be involved in group tutoring. Do you think that we should change that to 2?
The room will kind of control
Yeah.
that a little bit. I'm kind of thinking up to maybe that because of the booze or outside. I think we don't see more than one tutor with two students right now. But I think when you start to get multiple people, it just becomes louder.
Yes.
Because you're doing whatever activity and we want to support tutoring, not classes.
So we should change it from, the county has it no more than 3. Should we change it to no more than 2 students?
I'm kind of thinking two's probably
Okay.
good. If someone really wanted to talk to us and had like, some exemption, we might have something, but
Sorry.
probably do that. And with the 3, they may want outside, maybe better for them
Mhm.
at a table. That's good. Come back.
The other, library also have a note that the session should end 15 minutes before closing. Is that
But-
something that is important to the staff or? Because it's
Probably,
not in the Marin
yeah,
County.
we'll have to see. Again, I would probably like our computer shut off 15 minutes before closing. And so what I'm kind of thinking is the rooms would be closed 15 minutes before closing because then if they're having trouble getting out because they're in a middle project or they don't want to go, sometimes you have to do that. Probably would do 15 minutes before closing, but still to be determined, I think, a little bit.
So we should not include it into the policy now, or
Well-
is it in the sign-up system that they would have to sign up for a chunk of time and that it would say, what time do the library close? It's closed at 6. So when they reserve, it would be, from 5 to 5:45 or 4:45 to 5, this way they
Yeah.
know that it's.
But we might actually, let me think about that, because even if they're on the tables, because we do have some people who, and it's not really their fault, but it's like, we need to wrap up, you need to leave, and they're trying to do one last thing at 6. And usually they'll get gone, but it's a little easier if we can try to prod them a little earlier.
Yeah, if we
So-
don't book anything beyond 5:45.
Yeah. Because our staff ends right, their
6.
workday ends at 6, so that's actually, we might want to put that in the full policy. Let me think about that.
Yeah,
Because then we could approach people and just say, library's closing.
But that again would be one of those things that we're referencing back to the general use, right? Because it's not tutor specific, it's booking room specific.
Can students reserve the room?
Yeah, we haven't set the policy, but I think anyone with a library card could book the room. I mean, we haven't gone in, probably if you're 6 and 5, you can't,
Ages,
because the
it could be the
ages.
same age.
Yeah,
Age.
as long as you meet our age requirements,
So kids wanting to work on a project.
could book it.
I think there's a number of things in the general use policy and in the room reservation policy that you would just reference from tutoring, because it's
they
gonna,
will overlap.
yeah.
Yeah.
no, it's
Well, it does say,
directly applicable.
it does say here somewhere that the library policy regarding, it says in the Marin County Tour policy that the library's policy regarding disruptive behavior applies. We could say the library's policy regarding use of the premises apply, that all policies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
here it says, whatever, Plainville. All tutoring session must conclude no later than 15 minutes before library closing time. So you can squeeze that in there, and then you.
Easy to
Mm,
include. I think
yeah.
it does have a place in the policy, and I also think you limit the reservation system so you can't reserve it. That which is simple. It's not going to apply to the diner booths, but the policy covers everything. The reservation system naturally limits you, and then all bases are covered.
Okay.
And they're reserving for a set time. I mean, can they choose that amount of time or?
Yeah, we still have to set up the system, but you'd probably have a system where they have like, we're open 10 to 5 or whatever, 11 to 6, and there's a slot 10 to 11, 11 to 12. 1
5 to
2,
45.
5 to 5:45. Probably hour slots. I think people would want
Yeah.
an hour. I think a half hour
Yeah.
doesn't work because you get set up
And there'll be some sort of like limitations in the system, I assume, that allow back-to-back bookings for the same person.
Yeah.
Or prohibited, right?
Yeah,
Sorry, that don't allow, I
Yeah.
meant, yeah.
and then that's where you probably people will have if you have two friends, you reserve it the
Totally.
first hour and I get it the
Yeah.
second. But,
But it does
that's.
prevent
but-
one
but-
tutor, unless the tutor is asking
Yeah.
the student to do the reservation, right? Then it's like, but these are things, I think, like you said, it's as sort of it plays out, you can kind of see what's going on in real time and we can adjust to some of
And
that.
and
It's,
Who's working the system,
And
but
have a good policy in place and
Yeah.
people will be creative and that means they're
That's the
using
way
it,
you-
which,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
isn't
That's
terrible,
right.
right?
Yeah,
you
So-
see that these
I-
rooms are being used for the purpose that you.
Yeah.
you want.
And we just don't want one person reserving it from 1 to 5.
That's right.
Every day.
Yeah.
That's
That's right.
kind of our goal. It's not your business.
and I think that the system itself can pretty easily handle that sort of limitation.
Mhm.
I mean, this is what I was thinking. The room reservation system has a lot of play here. The constraints of how many total bookings can I have in a
right.
7-day period, no back-to-backs, total on a day, whatever that is. And also, are there consequences for not following rules? Can you revoke somebody's ability to reserve? Let's say they're unruly, they leave it a mess, or it's a repeated infraction. I would suggest that there's consequence for that.
So should
think
we,
that-
should we work that into the?
You can
policy?
say
think that's
use of
the
the room.
I
I
think
think
it's
it's reservation.
general use and
Yeah.
the reservation,
It's
because I think
intentional.
that applies to everything, right?
I
Like
agree.
it's sort of like you lose your library privileges, and whether that's your library membership is obviously last resort, but like you lose your ability to book
Yeah,
a
you
room
don't
for
follow
a
the
week
rules
if
of the
you-
library.
Use of the room is dependent on following the policies.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So you don't
Right.
have to say it too negatively.
yeah,
Yeah, but they could, if we ban them from the room, they could still check out a book, I think.
That's right.
It's kind of
It is interesting to think about the cascading privileges, like revoking your card is final,
Yeah.
like that's the worst.
Do you ever have to do that?
To ban someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few people out there, like, there is someone who has a kind of a lifetime ban.
Oh.
But you have to go through a lot of increments and usually there's a 1-year ban, then there was a 3-year ban.
but only one person has a lifetime ban, that's not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And it's pretty, I mean, we don't start there. I'll just say
Right,
there.
Yeah. What is
Is it you?
what are the
What-
various privileges that could be revoked? Is I would imagine checking things out.
Yeah, the checking things out is often because if you don't return books, your fines go up, so that could get revoked. Your use of the network could get revoked if you violate our networking policy or public computers. And then coming in the building if you're
Disruptive.
disruptive and then right now, we want to change this, but there's an 8-step process, kind of tell the person what they did and then remind them, ask them to leave for the day and then 2 weeks. But if there's something egregious, you can really jump up quicker. So I think there's just various levels of what they do and we would just ban here. So what happens in the county, because we're MarinNet, the county will ban someone like from Corte Madera, then they will come here.
Mhm.
So the person who got the lifetime ban here was banned from the county. They go through the whole different library systems often. But we'll see. I mean, we don't want to prejudice anyone, but we want to welcome everyone, but we have to make it safe for other people.
You do, and I think there's a balance of having policies, because that's your teeth, that's like accountability, you can point to it without it being a turnoff of like,
Right.
let's focus on the exceptions, but maybe someplace this is documented, so when you point to it and like, you've lost your privileges, here it is.
And a lot of times if someone understands, they get a week ban, or I could see a tutor, like you can't use this for a week. Usually that will resonate.
Yeah, it's
With that, yeah.
impactful to them, yeah.
There was
Sure.
a mention of not what you call that resident of the town, but having a library card. is that something that we want the
Yeah.
tutors to have? Do they
It
have?
can't
do
be
they
in the
provide-
library without a library card.
If we have the system we're planning
I
on,
think you can go in, you just
no.
can't check anything out.
You can't check any,
Yeah.
oh, so what if, ah,
but
Yeah.
the reservation system, if we use the LibCal, will require a library card. Your card,
Okay.
you could have fines on it or whatever, and you couldn't check out books, but you could still use the room. That's how our computers work. So you'll probably need a card to book the room, but then probably not to tutor someone outside the library or in the diner
Right.
booths.
Where you don't, it's for the reservation system, a library card will be required because the system requires it.
I think that's pretty
I
reasonable.
think that's fine.
I
Should
think
that
that's
be in
like
the
in-
policy or it's just on the reservation
It-
system?
It'll probably be on the reservation system policy, and then just how to do it. We'll have to do something, especially if they don't have a card, they'll have to get one.
Okay.
And
So it doesn't need to be added there to.
Yeah.
Redundant.
that just helps us also to be aware of who's using the facilities, and then that's the easy way to block someone
Yeah,
from reserving it in the future instead of us taking, monitoring people too closely. So I think that's pretty good feedback, and I think seemed like pretty consensus idea. So I'll draft up something. I'll see where we are with the room reservations. We kind of want to get into that with, I was talking about the occupancy and then the signs, and then test our system before we kind of, set up all the rules. But I think this was good feedback on the.
Do you think that using the county policy and making the few changes that we saw would be? This way you don't have to
That's good.
reinvent it.
That's a good starting point. In this policy, I know we used this, I think we adopted it in 03 or 04. So it's been 20 years plus with pretty
Yeah,
success.
standing the test of time.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what Mill Valley does, I think, is relies on this.
on this, their policy too. And they usually, again, try to use it only for the, extreme real. This will be, I think that's a good idea to start with this and take this feedback, and then we'll incorporate it.
Okay, I can
for-
send you the notes I
Okay.
added here. What we did then. A, two. There was very few. Oh, there was one more thing, sorry, that I saw in the other policies. Is that it might just be covered by another paragraph, but it was not explicit that the library staff could limit the tutoring activities when they interfere with with what's going on in the libraries, and it would be mostly for the non-reservable
Yeah.
spaces, just have a tutor. Well, today is not gonna work because we have,
This-
the Lions Dance, or,
These 3 tables are reserved for this purpose.
that's right.
Yeah, we'll have something that says the library.
like
That-
at the
It's in the
discretion
note.
of library
I mean-
staff.
Yeah,
County?
County designated areas may not be available if needed for library programs or activities. Is that what you mean?
Oh, yeah,
I think
oh, I
that's
see,
spot
it
on.
is in it, it is in it, okay, all right, so I get that,
Okay,
okay. Any other comment for that policy?
That's really fun to be able to think about this.
yeah.
So you're gonna draft something and then we will vote on it next time.
Next time. I may not have the reservation system probably set up, but we can do the policy without reservation.
Yeah.
But then eventually we'll get to the reservation policy.
Yeah, and we can placeholder, I think, if we need to, for certain things that'll tie back to the reservation or general use policy.
Right.
Mhm.
Mention them, but not be specific,
Mhm.
just go back. All right, thank you. 6.2, letter to city council. What do we want to tell the city councils this year? Last year was mostly getting the library moving, built. Generally, the way we write it, we just summarize what the library has been up to and the supporting groups,
Mhm.
and then what our goal for next year are. So, anyone?
I made a little list.
Oh, you good. That's a-
Well, no, I mean, I just looked at the ones from 24 and
Yeah.
25.
Yeah.
And so many things have been accomplished. So, I mean, it seems like, I mean, you always start with that thank you, et cetera, but then the major focus is overseeing this long-awaited construction of the new library and all the planning for the move, which seems to be pretty major
Mhm.
this year. Staff changes. You have a couple new people.
Mhm.
Sometimes you've done programming and statistics, circulation statistics.
Mhm,
Yeah.
yeah, we do.
I mean,
So it's just, yeah.
Did we see an increase in use of the library or in attendance to program or circulation this year compared to previous years?
The statistics we do are, well, we do monthly checkout, we do it our own internal. The statistics run from July 1st to June 30th.
Mhm.
So from that one, we saw an increase in circulation. I'd have to actually go back and see what it was, but it was, I want to say it was like 15%. I know that we circulated 99,000 physical items last year. And I think the year before, which still had a little bit of a COVID hangover, was like in the 70,000s. And our ebooks were 66,000 circulation last year. I'd have to look at the previous year. So, and then I'd have to look closer at the programming attendance, but it feels like we did a lot more programming.
I had a few things to add on this.
Oh, yeah.
Structure, and I love that you have a list. I'm excited to hear, I mean, by all means, go through
No,
it.
go ahead.
But we've had a structure that seems to have worked for
Yeah.
many years, at least during my tenure. It's been similar,
Mhm.
and I like it. And I think it's not broken,
Mhm.
and I think it's a good structure. And one aspect of consistency year over year would be actually to normalize stats that we report on each year. That the few that strike me are the membership of the library. How did it grow? How did it shrink? And how does that compare to years past? Circulation of physical and digital, and programming, quantity of events and attendance to the events, and then something that's subjective, like a few highlights to call out. Where each year, like if we
think it's
reference
a good
those
idea to have.
things consistently, it's kind of neat. Then you can see, you could even have, history.
Well, I
I don't know if those are the right ones, those struck me, but
Yeah,
something that's consistent, that's the look back in numbers.
I think it is a very good idea because we have to remember who our audience is. It is the city council. It is the people who are determining the budget of the library. And if they don't know that we have more patrons, more programs, and more books, how can they allocate or perceive the need?
You're laying groundwork to make a case.
That's right. And then to tie that home, we could be saying like, do we keep on doing more with less? So can we do more with a little bit more, of just how are we producing results with the budget that we have, which shows we're using it wisely. We know our audience of what they need and we're delivering that. And then, yeah, we could make an ask.
I mean, the other thing is, and we've talked about it, but I don't know that it belongs here. There are going to be added expenses with the new space. So do you include that we've had discussions about additional demands on the budget with the new space?
Well, the city
I don't
is
know.
going to be the one managing
Yeah.
the building, so that's not really
Okay.
We don't want to remind them that the building that house our programs is going to cost them more money. We just want to tell them how great our programs are and how, as you say, we're doing more with less.
Yeah, we can say we look forward to those opportunities that are gonna happen with the new building.
Yeah.
That will
And like,
let us expand.
yeah, and the opportunity to expand our programming and
And as much as we should highlight all the positives we can for the city council so that they feel fondly of everything that's going on. It doesn't need to be necessarily like an annual report of things. It can just be as much as have talk about things that have been done. I mean, it is substantial, the programming and everything that's been going on.
It-
in
Yeah, but they
And
do, because they
light of
build it.
everything else.
Yeah,
They don't really know what's going on inside the lab.
They
To your
may
point,
not.
they may not know
Yeah.
what's going on inside the library
Yeah.
that they're building.
Yeah.
That's why I like your suggestion to just have these three areas and to get numbers that are, increasing more, know how many more programs, and then put that in the letter. And
Mm.
and as you said, just which particular program was, I know that we've had new book groups added. We've got the mystery and then the romance, that's new this year. Just, as you say, a couple, so that we're not having a laundry list of programs. The one are particularly successful. And tell them that we look forward to continue in our brand new building.
does this letter become public?
Yeah.
So like the whole
Yeah.
community could read this. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it might be something we even want to draw attention to. Like,
Yeah.
well,
But do
look-
highlight the, the staff changes and
Yeah.
the advances there
Well,
and
it's fully staffed, right? There's no more open position.
Yeah, it's, yes.
So
Like,
for
it
the,
kind of be determines what the new hours at the library are. If we go to 6 days a
Mhm.
week, then we're not. But right now, as of today, as of this facility,
Mhm.
we're fully staffed.
which is the first time in 3 years that we are fully staffed. We have always been missing someone in the past, right? We always had somebody leaving or
think so.
somebody, a position. So I think that needs to be,
Mhm.
um,
And we should mention Teresa too, as somebody long time.
I
staff
am, yeah.
member
That's right.
who Did so much.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think it's always, and you both starting with the thank you, like gratitude and acknowledging whatever goes there, but Teresa's a perfect example.
Right.
And maybe highlight with our connections with the different groups, because I
Yeah.
think a lot of.
Great,
we've
And
been
Touch
really
Club, yeah, I mean,
advanced
that
out
was
in the last
great.
year,
Yeah.
Last year.
right,
Yeah.
achievement of the groups, and also the fact that the groups somehow started maybe whispering to each other.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know how we write that in the letter, but yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like there was some
Delighted with
facilitation
the
of-
initial signs of collaboration
Yeah.
amongst the groups, open communication.
Which was
The
through
dawn.
your meeting,
Ah,
you facilitated
Yeah.
that.
Getting them in the same room.
mhm.
All
And
right,
just to build on all those things.
Yeah.
Yep.
With the new building, because I think that enthusiasm does stem from.
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
start.
so to summarize, we have stats. We have Teresa. We have full staff. We have groups accomplishment. And groups communication. Did I miss something?
Is there anything different with the webpage? That was,
Just small updates.
okay.
You might want to, you did approve the programming policy and work on that, so that might.
We can say, we're
Yeah.
working on policies. and
Reviewing
that would-
policies.
It would be the segue towards the new space, and we look forward to the new space.
Can you think of anything, Damon, that we should include that is beneficial that we're overlooking from our position that you see on a daily basis?
I think any sort of advocacy for additional budget would be welcome from my perspective. Again, like I've mentioned many times, we are so underfunded per capita.
Yeah.
Like we're $68 per person, even San Rafael, $78.
Why don't we
Per person.
reference that?
Yeah. I've just-
Yeah.
As a reminder, I mean, this is
Yeah.
this,
So that-
the the data of if we say we're doing more with less.
Yeah.
Here's the context
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Our neighboring, communities, X dollars per and
What
we're
is the
at,
average even? Cause I bet it's higher than the San Rafael.
So San Rafael's second lowest, I'd have to get these, to be
you've shared it
official.
before, I remember.
Yeah.
No.
But like the county's 150 per person. I think Tiburon and Mill Valley are over $200 per person.
They're crazy.
Our rate is more like we're in the Central Valley,
Yeah.
or Mendocino even has more per capita than us.
I mean, I wonder if we
Just-
just take some of those numbers and like even say in the, town, our neighboring towns average over $100 per
Yeah.
resident, where we're sitting at 68 per.
Absolutely.
And depending, if you needed like the statistics for the letter, I could include like that stat or all the statistics, if you like, I could send those.
I
to
think
you
that
for the
the
letter.
right context with teeth for, we do more with less.
Yeah, and we want to expand this programming in the new space,
Yeah.
et cetera.
Right.
Here's our budget.
Message number one is no cuts. And then with the more money, but just,
Yeah.
it's gonna be,
That's
We-
that's
we
the
have- we have-
undercurrent,
that's
that's the
right.
whole thing.
We need to stay in the spirit of collaboration with the city.
Yeah.
Because we want that building to be maintained.
Well, the idea is that the service and collection has to meet
Keep pace.
the building.
Keep up.
Right.
You know,
Right,
you don't
gotta
want
live
an
up.
empty shell.
Yes,
I mean, that's also, I think that's not inappropriate to say. Yeah, I think we could say that. With the upgrade of the building, we have an eye toward having a similar upgrade to the programming to keep pace with this experience and caliber of, role in the environment, in the community.
I think the patrons have the expectation.
Yeah,
That's
that
right.
anticipated
That's
demand.
right.
It will
People
be,
this new
right.
building.
many people who do not come here because they don't even know it's here will now know
100%.
it there, and they will come in and they will use it.
Damon, we know dollars per patron, right? We're at 68
Or per population,
per population.
Well,
Yeah.
per-
because they're not all library.
not at all,
patrons.
Okay,
per
so-
capita.
Per capita.
So our budget divided by 12,000
Wow.
people who live here.
Got it.
is
So that's a
68.
per capita budget. It's a per
Resident, okay.
person
Mhm.
average, not library member, but resident. And we know that comparison to other towns because those numbers are out
Mhm.
there. We could put in the same context, circulation and usage and even membership as a percentage of the community. Do we know those similar stats for our neighboring or for the
I-
county or for other?
I could pull those, not off the top of my head, but
Nice.
I could
You
pull,
could.
we have to submit those yearly, and it would be for the July 1st. It wouldn't be, last month, but we do have those stats, and then.
From what you
population.
know, even top of the head, how does our circulation compare to neighboring on a per capita basis?
It's it's pretty high, because that's one of our challenges, like with the ebooks, when we had our last meeting.
Mhm.
Our people are using a lot, but we're not,
Contributing.
yeah.
Right.
So we have half our people, we have a population of approximately 12,000, and we have about 6,000 library cards. So that's a very high percentage
Wow.
for people, for a community. So
Yeah,
our circuit, and then we're also open 34 hours, where like Corte Madera is open 9 AM to 8 PM today.
So we're open less.
Yeah.
than-
We're open less.
Yeah.
But we have a more intense,
Yeah.
reading time
Again.
versus,
Doing more with less hours, less budget.
and we would, the reason we're open less is because of budget reasons, I'm guessing.
yeah, that's where the budget for the other libraries is
that, right?
higher,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and if especially if you're open 7 days a week, 11 hours a day, that's a lot of
Yeah.
people versus what we have.
May I ask everybody, if we were to compare our numbers, membership, hours, CERT, programming, and budget, is it meaningful to list each of our neighbors, which we know or to aggregate them and say
I
like,
think we
on
should
an
add
average.
it, because we're not giving, as you
Okay.
said, we're not giving a year-end report. We don't want it to be too dry. So what we need to do is to get those and distill them into some sort of language that is convincing without being a litany of percentile. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm,
I also think that the numbers are gonna be more impactful once aggregated,
fair.
because,
I don't, and
Like
I
you-
wasn't sure, like, I don't want to lose like the range of like.
no, but if you look at San Rafael, it's not that huge of a difference, right? I think that our 50% patronage is gonna be much higher than San Rafael, but if you look at it on a per capita basis, I think that 68 to 78 is much less impactful than aggregating them and
To the
saying,
50,
yeah.
yeah, well over 100.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly why I asked the question.
And you want it to be readable and not just.
Easy,
yeah.
right? We don't, if the eyes glaze over and they don't
Yeah.
read it,
Yeah.
it's
What's
all
the
lost.
point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So simple.
Yeah, we always kept it to one page
Hmm.
because this is in paragraphs. I think we had 5 paragraphs max,
Hmm.
so that it's, as you said, readable.
Yep.
All right, who wants to draft it, Jonathan?
I think the chairman typically drafts it, but.
I don't
um,
think
What I was gonna volunteer was to do just the section on these stats, because I have an interest and I'm very comfortable with it. Could even present as an alternative, like here's a graphic of just us versus average, because I think numbers tell a story.
Yeah.
And also, Susan, I wanted,
Yeah.
were there more things on your list that you haven't even gotten to?
Oh,
Because I
well,
know you started this.
I mean, I don't know how much you want to focus on just, we didn't mention it in this discussion, but just preparing for this move and how much work you've done internally to prepare. That's me. You?
So disappointed.
Well,
Sorry.
I think again, because in the past, we've always preferred to have a short letter
Yeah.
that is, so we can focus
I
on
don't think it
the,
has to be more than a sentence or two,
on
but
the work
Great.
that is done toward the move, and that can be looped up into the work that the board has done in order to
Well, 'cause
prepare
we
for the
won't need
move, the policies, the staff, carrying the books, that can be summarizing that everybody is really looking forward and working hard to get that move done.
because in the past, the letters have had to do with all the planning for the building. So that's,
Right,
that's
Yeah.
gone.
That's
So
Yeah.
now it's the planning for the move,
Right.
but I think you did so much that
Yeah,
that
there
should
was,
be mentioned.
there was a lot of heavy lifting done by the library staff in
Yes.
this past year. In
Yeah.
addition to what they were doing to maintain the library.
Would you
operations.
and Jonathan work on those two parts? Jonathan on the numbers and you on the thankful and preparedness?
Just tell me what you want. No, I mean.
Well, we
Okay.
want to hear the end of your list.
Oh, okay. Well, no,
You've already put a lot of thought into it.
I
So
just went and looked at the old letters. So,
Those are good basis though.
yeah,
yeah,
It's a perfect template, like update content,
Yeah.
maybe with an introduction of a slightly more structured comparison to the neighbor, the average neighbor,
Mhm.
neighbor's average.
what do you want? I mean.
Would you
whatever.
draft it? Question mark. Draft the letter.
All right.
Yeah.
And then we
But-
can always.
And I'll help.
And you
That's
get.
all I need, but Damon, will you? can
I'll
you
send, yeah, I'll send it to you
send
this
that.
week.
Yeah.
You're
I
excited.
like that, I mean,
Yeah.
And we can help.
Somebody's
With the
doing
fully staffed,
excellent.
do you want names in
We
there?
have people get so
With the new
excited about writing a
people?
letter.
I don't
I mean-
remember what we did
They
previously.
were, I think. but-
I
Okay.
would leave them off for brevity, but if you were gonna call out Teresa, I'd mention her
As retired.
as retired, yeah. But I wouldn't list all of us who we hired,
Oh, which positions got filled? Children's librarian and,
circulation supervisor,
okay.
Yeah, but for the first time in 3 years, we have a full staff.
yeah.
We're always missing somebody. waiting for a position to be filled or to be approved or to be listed or. So,
And as for the support groups, we called them together to come
mhm,
and
Yeah,
present.
mhm.
That was, yeah,
Mhm.
Well, there was more cooperation, more communication, and then they delivered. I mean, the commons, we can all see what the commons has done. The friends, there was touch track, there was the little bag that they made, the bookmarks, the presents at the event on Magnolia.
I don't know that we need to reference all.
No,
of
no, no,
that.
no,
I was gonna say, we
But
should highlight the library itself. You guys did do a lot of work, Damon, when I think about
Mhm.
yeah.
staffing things, operations and planning for the move. That's
And more,
substantial.
and more programs, more
And
additional
all the
programs.
program, yeah.
We could list the additional program, like the 2 book groups and what other program do you have added this year?
We did now we're calling it craft room, but it was the stitching program that's been very popular
The craft, yeah.
Mhm.
For adults.
for adults, yeah.
You had all those slime things and.
Yeah, we had all the summer reading kind of programs with the STEM.
But
and
that we do it
stuff
every
like that,
year.
yeah.
I'm talking about things that are new, that are just
So it's
additional.
craft group.
Yeah, craft room.
Damon, what, if you had to say the single most successful programmed event of the year, was it Touch Truck? Or so what else in addition to Touch Truck?
I think Touch a Truck, just by its finance, that's kind of what comes to mind. I'd have to think about that. I don't have the good,
I think it'd
I'd
be-
want to go back
I
because
think that's a worthwhile exercise.
because I'm kind of
To
forgetting.
think and send that around or next meeting, share
Yeah,
that.
let me review because I'm also kind of maybe a little biased towards the fall. And kind of remember what happened last
Mhm.
winter and spring. Well, let me think.
Okay, yeah, by
Yeah,
all
because
means.
we've all of our children's programs have been, I would say, equally successful. I'll come back
Okay.
to you. Yeah.
Another question, is this the calendar year recap
Yes,
of all of 2025?
Yeah.
And did you say that the numbers go from June to July?
Yeah, so our stats are not fully aligned probably with what the letter will do. Because I think the letter's more calendar year. Our stats will be fiscal year.
But I don't know that that
That's
changes from your perspective too much, because I think what we're trying to highlight is not like, these are the exact
mhm.
numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's more the
it's directional.
comparison
It's, yeah,
of what we
it's at a
have
higher.
versus what the neighboring
Right.
towns have, and so I don't even, I think it's more like on average type
Mhm.
of thing.
I'm curious, off the top of your head even, how does our membership as a percentage of residency compare?
I don't know about the full county. I would say the typical average is probably nationwide 33%.
So you're 50.
And we're at 50, and we've also not done some of the other libraries, like San Rafael, Novato. They've given every student a card. They worked with the school district. So that kind of like inflates
Yeah.
Novato because all of a sudden you've got 5,000 cards out there. Ours are without that program. So we really have, and then we clear people after 2 years.
If they haven't
Use
used their account.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's, could be ebooks, whatever, as long as the card's been touched. So that shows pretty active usage.
That's cool.
I mean,
And again, we are still kind of coming up after COVID because our numbers really went far down for a couple of years there. I think last year's stats were kind of a return to normal. That'll be our first,
Yeah,
It was a bit base.
yeah. And then this year's stats will be a little wonky because we'll be closed for a little while and changing facilities.
But that's in the future.
But
We're looking
yeah.
at what happened.
and then it's gonna potentially could surge.
It's gonna,
Yeah, so that might make
Yeah.
up for the whole thing in April, May, and June.
Because this is what we want to do. We want to just prep the city council for the fact that that new facility is really going to spur the patron and the public into using and the facility and the library and the program and telling them, this is what we've been doing for the past, in the past with what we have.
Do you
Yes.
have to have a Larkspur mailing address to get a Larkspur card?
It's your tax code. So when you could get a library card from us and we'll issue it to you even if you live in Corte Madera.
Uh-huh.
But when you apply, we have a system that basically assigns your home library by where you live, and that's at the tax code field.
So the reason I'm asking is because like Kentfield, I'm guessing is the same tax code for,
Kentfield is the county. All of Kentfield, so and parts of Greenbrae that aren't in Larkspur that are county, they're MCFL patrons. So for some people, just your neighbor across the street
yeah.
might be in a different library jurisdiction than what you have. That's why we use the tax code.
So,
based on-
so you can't use your county library card like in the like that doesn't count towards Larkspur library patronage.
In terms of members, what Jonathan's
Yeah.
talking about, the 6,000 people live in the Larkspur city district.
Yeah,
You know,
and that district is what's 12,000 people.
yeah.
Okay.
But we have more, because we would have people using our services, attending our programs who are not from these 12,000,
Yeah,
who would be like.
Yeah,
you
but
said
I don't know that
Kentfield.
we can necessarily quantify that
And we
in
can't,
any.
we can't, because
Yeah.
they elaborate, even if they borrow a book here and they get all their books and all their material through here, their card is Marin County.
Right.
So our numbers are gonna be lower than could be potentially lower than what we have.
But it
in
goes
some
both
way-
ways, right? Because similarly, a Larkspur patron can go to the San Rafael Library and Corte Madera, right? And I
Right,
think that it just cuts both ways. So I don't know. I think it's probably. a
I think it
wash.
comes out in the wash.
Yeah,
yeah.
just,
Yeah.
I think we'll get a bigger use because I think we have some people who live in Larkspur because Corte Madera is arguably a better library with size and collection hours. Where some of those people are gonna just come to our library now.
Yeah.
Like when Corte Madera closed, we saw our holds double.
yeah,
And so I think we're gonna see that doubling over there.
Yeah.
Just because it's a nice place.
that's
for
how we
parking.
can measure, by the number of people who actually step in to pull books, to put books on hold. The shelf of books on hold last week were unbelievable. After the library closed for Christmas, it took out
We
the
had-
whole
we-
alcove.
We had to move everything.
I couldn't find my name. I had to walk all the way to the other corner.
I'm hoping at the new library, the system we have will have a door count. We had door counts at our other library. Cause
Yes.
that'll be really impactful.
Oh,
to say,
Yeah.
This many per
I
hour.
second that.
Yeah.
Is that a request? Can we make?
I'm gonna-
I think we're gonna have.
No, it's just
we're
it's
gonna have a
interesting.
I think the security camera system will do that, but we haven't gotten to that level.
AI.
Well, there has to
video.
be something, right, to capture the capacity for the fire code and stuff, so I'm guessing.
Thank goodness we don't really have that here.
Well, yeah,
Except it's story time.
Yes, I know.
But yeah, we'll have that, and we've talked about that with the library opening, we may have capacity limits that day, so. Well, and maybe other days, we might be at full.
Here's another area where it'd be interesting if we have data or stats. Network usage, the Wi-Fi,
I could give that to you, it's not very good or accurate,
not accurate or not impressive.
not accurate.
Okay,
I'm hoping we're gonna get a new system over here with new APIs that will have some. We can tell how many times it counts logins. So like if someone, like my phone connects to it because I have my Wi-Fi on, it counts
Mhm.
as you know what I
but
mean?
that's
Yeah.
proximity, not usage.
Yeah,
Right, and
yeah.
that's also maybe multiple devices.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay,
so,
Yeah.
but,
not,
and
not
then
using-
we don't want to. Some libraries have it, so you have to do your library card to get on the Wi-Fi, but then that becomes kind of cumbersome. for the,
Okay.
it's not worth the staff,
That
but,
might not be
but I
the
could
best
send
one.
it to you and just see what you.
You know, I don't think I would include it, but I'm interested in seeing it. So go ahead and send it.
It's a big number, but
Unless,
It doesn't mean anything.
yeah.
I don't think it's helping our case.
I don't think
No.
so either. I
We have a
think if
story, there's a
Yeah.
story that we're telling, which is
Need to
people,
prove
no, we don't. I was just curious, like, are we also like driving the online access of Larkspur from the library?
But you
But I
know,
don't think we are. We're not
to-
like
to-
the city hotspot.
there are people every weekend who are sitting in the little alcoves, downstairs.
Great.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, it's
Yeah.
just, we may not be the hotspot, but
We're
for
a
some
hotspot.
people,
Yeah.
we are, and they just sit there.
Which is,
Against the wall, sheltered, you can barely see them from the street because it's. on
Yeah,
top of the
but
street.
there's a lot of places, right? That's rustic.
But it's,
Mm.
they
the
sit on
Apple
the
Store.
bench,
I mean,
Yeah.
but
people
it still happens.
Pete's
It's
and
still a
Starbucks.
need that
Yeah.
we fill for those people, so that's good.
Anybody else have ideas of what should go on that letter?
Try to be succinct.
Yeah,
I think it's
I-
good.
After
You know, I know you
all.
wrote down, Armel captured a sequence. I think you started with one, a thank you,
Mhm.
calling out the move,
Mhm.
which was the whole theme of the year, referencing staff changes and being fully staffed. Then I think it's a natural into the look back and possibly a look forward, and
The
which
group.
includes some highlights. And I would think maybe a little bit more elaboration on the move. It did like the new facility, like that is far and away the highlight of this year. We got it over the line. I mean, years, maybe decades. How long has this been envisioned?
Decades.
Jeff, you might know
10 years.
best. I mean, it's the culmination,
No
standing on
longer.
the,
20.
well, our neighbor
That's-
was on the library board 20 years ago. He's since moved. And at that time, they were talking about a new library.
I
mean,
saw a historical thing where they were looking at it in the sixties even.
Yeah.
Peter. Martin-
Joe,
Peter Peter?
how long was Joe working on this?
Oh, 3 years.
And he was in the middle of the most recent push.
Yeah. Instrumental.
Yeah, they were the first one that went completely
There
kaput,
was one that
and then
fell apart.
nobody dared touch it, and then Joe came and.
had plans,
And
Yeah.
just-
architecture plans.
just said,
Mhm. We're doing
"What we
it.
can do."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
And this is a feather in the cap of this council too, that they, I mean, this is a huge.
On their watch.
Full of them on
Everybody
their
will claim.
watch.
Oh, yes.
Whatever bronze plaque is there,
Yeah.
and have their name on
Yeah.
it as the city council members.
Yeah.
All right,
I
can we
think
move?
as just as a procedural thing, last time, and it'll be up to you, but I think you drafted the letter and then I sent it to the group before the next meeting.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then I would take any comments from the group and then send it back, but
Yeah.
you could do it any
That
which
sounds
way.
Let's do
good.
it the same way.
Just because of the Brown Act.
But there are a lot of holes here,
That's okay,
yeah. that
But
need to
all,
be filled
I mean,
in.
would you do it as a collaborative doc, like put it in a G doc, Google, and then
I'll go back.
everybody can,
Well, I think the
We
two
go-
of you could collaborate on it
On
Yeah.
the.
as
and then
the
we-
subcommittee, and then when
Okay.
you two agree to it, I could forward it to the five of
Right.
you. Again, it's the Brown Act.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
all five
Yeah.
of us can collaborate on
Yeah.
it.
right, that.
But you could
constitutes a
each,
meeting,
the
Yeah.
three people could
Right.
comment and I could transmit the
All right.
comments to you.
okay,
And there are gonna be a lot of holes.
that's okay,
That's okay.
that's fine.
That's good. We gotta get started
That's
on
okay,
it,
we just
so
need,
you can fill them in.
do a draft.
Is there a deadline for this
No,
or a target?
no, we
So,
just like
all
get
right,
it
yeah,
done
let's just,
before-
they were
before
just starting the process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
we can, if you do this, do the draft together, send it to Damon, and then we have it by next month, then next month we
Send
can.
it to Damon.
Yes,
Mhm.
and then by next month, we'll just.
We'll
get it
change.
And.
Yeah.
And then at the meeting, you could all comment together on it.
And it will be just a
Sure.
final draft.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, thank you for all your input on this. Thank you for drafting. Thank you for working the numbers. 6.3, library role in opening of the new library. Stephen, you're back on.
Yeah, well, Damon and I have been going to the book brigade meetings.
Yeah.
And it occurred to me that we might want to think about a board role in the move. You know, something but that's up to all of you, I don't know. The Friends are sponsoring the Book Brigade, and the Commons Foundation will probably be doing something for the big donors.
That's
Yeah.
good, yeah, and. So I guess that, we don't know the date, so that's always hard to know until we get the date what the opening will be, but it'll probably be March or April, we kind of have that down. You could also, if you felt you could support another endeavor like the Book Brigade, or I think there's gonna be a lot of different openings too, if you wanted to. I mean, I could see once we open, having our first meeting over there.
Just seemed like we
Yeah.
wanted some kind of visibility that the board is supporting this.
So were
No.
you thinking incorporating with the Book Brigade, which is probably the most public event there will be, that we
I-
would be?
I didn't get any further than asking the question.
Would you update us on what the Book Brigade last meeting, what was happening there, and maybe it will just give us some ideas?
Well, they're moving along and they've gotten a map for the route. And they've spoken with the police. I don't know that they've gotten to the fire department yet, but they've got them on board. And the police and fire department have to sign off before the city
So-
can do the insurance. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah, and the city's kind of going along with it, they won't approve it formally till the permit, they fill out their paperwork.
Mhm.
But, they've been included in the discussions and there hasn't been a no.
I mean, there are a lot of logistics involved.
Oh, yeah.
Cause it would be the day the library opens too, it's on a Saturday, so that's would be part of the whole grand day.
Yeah, I mean, there's sort of a timeline that's loose, but there'd be all the setup, but say around 10 o'clock, there'd be something here on the steps to begin the Book Brigade, and then we figured that takes about an hour. Is that what people thought? Because they're gonna be moving about 800 books, 1,000 books. It's a token. And once the brigade is complete, there will be opening ceremonies at the new library. And that's a whole other thing with the program. And Catherine Way and,
And Morrison.
Scott Campbell
yes, from
and
the,
Ann will be involved, but
yeah, from the council have agreed to help. Plan that, because there are a lot of groups and people that will need to be programmed in and in the right order, so everybody gets the proper credit.
Mm.
Yeah.
My thought is that there are already quite a few moving bodies, and we are coming a little late in the game. And also we are not really, our function is not really to plan events.
Right,
And I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
Right.
So how about we tell everyone we are available to be present if they want us as a group. And they can pluck us wherever they need or want us. But I don't want to, I'm a little hesitant to pluck myself into, oh, Book Brigade, how about, we do the first book or we do the last books, when we're not really doing anything. I don't want to hijack
No, I understand.
anybody's plans. And so we can make ourselves available, and if they need us, we would love to. I would personally think it would be great to have the whole group be there for one particular task. But I don't want to say what task, because it's up to the people who are doing it to assign jobs.
yeah, I mean, there are 5 of us, so it couldn't be anything very grand. I just didn't know if we wanted any kind of visibility that we're putting a stamp on that move. Because this board has had a part in planning it. But I don't know what's appropriate.
I think the way I would think about it is like, for what's appropriate is really just being at the space and sort of there as a general community supporter. And I don't know, I mean, I don't know that it has to be officially in the capacity of a board member, but I think just that visibility is important.
We're almost ambassadors
Yeah.
of this. You know, stewards. So I agree, like, I don't want to be officious and
Right,
insert,
Yeah.
but clearly supportive and definitely present.
okay,
And I don't know if there's something appropriate beyond that.
yeah. I mean, I think the Friends were talking about helping with the tour, the library will be open for tours right after the last book goes in. And so there'll be some docents and stuff, so I don't know how many docents will be needed, but
Well, yeah, we could offer our
the board will be
services
docents.
in matching, pomp attire. We could
Yeah.
do a VIP tour for anybody.
Yeah, as I said, I'm all for being, offering our presence, but I don't really want to say, we'll do this.
No, no,
And
no.
then we'll step
I
in.
don't think we want to
That's-
overcommit. I just was
Yeah.
thinking about visibility.
But I think if the friend says like, we could use a couple more docents, then we're a great resource for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
That's
whatever
right.
they
Yes,
think we should do.
yes, and we can definitely, identify ourselves as board members so that people know how it works.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what about Larky though?
Larky, I think, is gonna be at the group.
Okay, good.
Who is gonna be Larky?
Sean.
Don said he would, from the,
Okay.
he
Oh,
was
yes,
Sean
yes,
from
yes,
the
yes,
foundation.
Foundation.
Okay,
Wow, great,
Thank you.
excellent.
If not, I think I got my neighbor to commit.
Thank God it's
Oh,
April.
really?
I think maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I'm.
Back
close
up.
to it.
You
Yeah.
may need a backup.
We always need a backup. Okay, it's
Or
hot.
we might have a morning and afternoon, Sean might not like it after 8 hours.
So would you tell the friend that we are standing by as a group?
Yeah, I mean, they
and-
haven't asked. This was.
But you can report back that we are standing by as a group and as individual. If they need all 5 of us, we'll, as you say, put on matching gear and be the board. And if they just need 1 or 2.
well, how are the a cappella skills of this group?
Excellent. I'm glad you
I
asked.
can do one note.
They have a zero.
Are you a tenor?
Zero, no, it's
I'm only
absolutely
one
not.
note.
But we're really good with shakers,
No.
right?
It's a marimba.
No,
Yeah, okay.
thanks for being our liaison.
Yes.
Oh, it's been interesting. I mean, they're working really hard.
Oh,
That's
there's
great.
so much energy behind this,
I
and
mean,
it's,
they work
and it's,
really hard.
You know what we could do is that once this is done, we could maybe have at our April or May meeting, have the friends come and do a little, recognition at our official recognition
well,
at our meeting.
that's actually, I was thinking along those lines. At the opening, what would feel appropriate is for us to express gratitude
Mm.
to the other groups
On the
Mhm.
program.
Yes.
on behalf of the library. And I feel like that is, like,
Yes.
we're the appropriate voice
Right,
Yeah.
to say thank you
right,
and to recognize and
yes,
acknowledge people, groups,
Yeah.
yes,
and that just feels like,
That feels really,
that is true.
yeah.
That is true.
Supporters on the
So we
council,
would,
et
if
cetera.
you can, yeah,
so we'll have to let Catherine know,
Yeah,
because she's gonna kind of plan.
and then maybe if they come up with speakers, maybe, I don't know, someone from the board could just say a couple words if they get rotate people.
President.
Well, yeah.
Was that your deer in headlights?
it was my delegating.
Oh, your delegation, I was thinking like as a body.
Correct.
It would be appropriate, like banded together, strength in numbers, but to say thank you and acknowledge people,
Yes,
that feels really good.
That's
yes.
right.
And it
That's the
only
right
takes,
thing.
it only takes a minute.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's not stepping
Exactly.
on everybody, it's
Yeah.
stealing time.
No, I think it's a great idea.
And it's just reflecting on all the groups and all the patrons and all the residents.
Mhm.
That's who we represent.
And we have a unique vantage point. We are the
Insider.
board direct,
Mhm.
library. All the groups, I think, and it can be short and sweet.
Yeah, I think that's
You know,
right.
Dan Schwartz has been through this entire process too, and should be thanked at some level.
Right,
I'm not sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because he kind of is under the radar
Absolutely.
lots of times. but
We don't want to get
really-
the hook, like in the Oscars, of having too long of a list of thank
Yes.
yous, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can
Anyway.
keep it. I mean, and it's something that we have plenty of time to curate that
The
and agree.
orchestra will start playing.
That's right. And the library goes too. You, all the citizens.
That's
Um,
good. Don't,
Yes,
Yeah,
I
so-
think
Really
it's
good.
really good. We just so report back to the friend, we're standing by with any help, and then so Catherine Way is organizing the ceremony. We tell her that we would like a
Okay.
minute as a group to express our
You know,
thanks.
acknowledge and express
Yeah.
gratitude for all the people and groups that made
so the
this
council
happen,
would be thanked at that point too.
of course.
I mean, that's the thing that Catherine's supposed to work on, is making sure that everybody who's had a part in this is included. So we have to be careful, I think, to make
And-
sure we're very
Yeah.
inclusive.
Absolutely.
Catherine's been involved with it for a long time,
Yeah.
as has Ann as a council.
Yeah.
member. She was council.
And then also remembering some of the people who are no longer with us, like
Yeah.
Francis Gordon and a lot of people who
Yeah.
didn't get to see this
I don't
day.
even know that name. Who is Francis Gordon?
She was the librarian from
Librarian.
99 to 2015 and
Mhm.
was a big part of starting this.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Pushing for it.
Her-
And would we call out a Teresa? At that point, I mean, that's an individual within the library. I don't know, maybe
Yeah, her
appropriate for the
librarian
letter,
staff,
not for
yeah.
the,
Yeah,
Yeah,
just as a group though, like the
Yeah.
library staff,
right.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. We
Yeah.
want, as you said.
I think that if we start calling out individual names, we
Just-
get into
just let-
trouble,
no.
like.
Because we're
who
gonna forget
slighting.
somebody.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's the real-
exactly.
There's a classy, like,
Sure could.
high level,
Yeah,
inclusive, and then it's shorter that way.
yeah,
And-
and you're
Like-
right, it keeps it classier, otherwise it's, and.
That's right, no
I shouldn't say
favorites.
none of us have any ill will or like, sinister agenda, but people, who knows, we can easily forget something
Yeah.
and then it's,
Yeah.
the optics are
Yeah.
not good.
It's a lot
Right.
easier to go by groups because it's a lot easier, you can't forget a group.
Just as a dry run, we know the three groups.
Mhm.
I would include the staff of the library
Yep.
for
Mhm.
sure.
City council.
The library director and staff, again, without a name, but
Mhm.
definitely appropriate. City council.
Dan Schwartz.
Public work.
City
I mean,
managers.
the city,
the
City
city staff,
the city staff, city staff.
And the
and-
patrons, and the
And
residents of
right,
Larkspur.
the patrons,
Who-
and individuals who played such a large role. We don't have to name them, but like Joe Jennings comes to mind for me
Boy.
as such a driving force. Not go down the slippery slope of names, but
But the
that's a
common-
category,
just the common.
you know,
But it-
individual
it-
champions.
The comments, that's right.
Mhm.
Fair, yeah,
It just, if we limit or keep in mind the big groups and we know that we're not.
We can also
privileging-
say something like, and there's certain particular individuals, you know who you are, who have really,
Right.
and then it's,
and their spouses, right?
right,
Yeah.
and it's
And
everyone.
families.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
hairdresser.
Think about
But-
acknowledging that like certain people did have an
Oversized.
outsized role,
Correct,
but
and not naming them
Yeah.
keeps it high road.
Yeah.
I would really include the patrons and.
I was,
the
Yeah,
I
staff,
think we should
agree.
end with that,
Yeah.
the community.
because those are the ones
Agreed.
who paid the money and who by their presence and using the library
totally.
made the need felt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If-
they've created the need.
If this place was
Yep.
empty every day or.
And voted for it, right? I mean, aren't
Yeah.
there votes that we had to get passed, for everything to be
Yeah.
approved?
What
Well,
about
the council had to
No?
approve all the vote.
Council did.
I don't know
No,
about
there was
that.
a-
No.
But nothing about it. There's nothing
They
about
did,
it.
but they're not gonna be there.
Right.
Also have
The sentiment, the
stipulations
driving
for
sentiment
owners.
Yeah,
from,
exactly, I don't
from
know
the
about that.
community.
We
That
have
feels
to show up.
disingenuous,
It'll be at
actually.
the end of the book drop.
As long as we
That's
don't
Book-
get in
okay.
trouble.
All right, we are going down the rabbit hole.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to ask one quick question. The one person you called out, Anne, who I don't know,
Anne Morrison.
okay, but we're not doing any names.
You're not gonna name
Okay,
it.
I'm
Yep.
taking that off my.
Yep.
list.
We're doing,
She'll
Of the commons. Is working different.
Yeah, no, I
capacities,
know.
supports, gives.
All right, that was future agenda items. So we will definitely have the letter to the council draft,
Tutor policy.
the tutor policy, we will hope to vote on it. Anything else?
I
maybe-
just have a question.
Yes.
If there's an idea for like a fundraiser for the library specifically, is that something that the Commons would be a good resource to work
Friends.
with, or the Friends?
Both, either
Okay.
one, or the foundation. Either, I think we should be presenting it to all three.
Yeah,
Because the friends are pretty busy.
You have an
yeah.
idea?
I
think-
do have an
I-
idea.
And what, one with the Commons Foundation is gonna transition probably to a foundation, so they may be, after it's open, they may be a better source.
Yeah,
But
okay.
but
that
you know,
makes
this
sense.
is not our agenda tonight, so we can discuss it.
Is-
This
okay.
particular topic, we'll have to put it
But
for
you could
next
put it on
time.
the future.
Yeah, we can put it for the future.
Yes,
Fun-
yes,
what was it?
definitely.
Fundraising.
Potential fundraiser,
That's okay.
yeah.
I like it already.
Ew. I'm very curious.
Yes,
now.
now we all.
How would you build anticipation by Angie?
Potential is the operative word there.
Potential, anything else, we will have to revisit this participation.
Okay.
And in between now and next month, is it appropriate for me to reach out to friends? If
It-
to do a little, like, just research, I guess, and information gathering?
Individually, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Or to the, any of the groups, yeah.
yeah, okay,
Well, yeah,
I think-
you're a patron, you're a resident.
yeah, okay.
At what point should we speak with Catherine and Scott about our role in the opening? And who
Um,
should do
I
that?
think the sooner the better to get it on their radar.
Okay,
yeah, I'll do that.
okay, good.
Um,
And as soon as I hear a date that gets opening, I'll email everyone, just
Yeah.
like we know it's, even if we don't have the details.
Right.
good.
And make sure we're here.
That's the problem. I
I
know,
will say when we did the tour, I took a picture and I showed it to my kids and they were like really, really stoked about it,
Great.
so
Nice.
it's exciting.
Any other agenda item for next month?
Mhm.
Okay. Date of next meeting is currently set for February 9th. Is that a problem for anyone? Is that?
Very good.
that
Check on
spring break?
school vacation.
Yeah.
ski week,
Ski week,
February
yeah.
6th, the next weekend, 16.
16th.
I'm good for the 9th.
Clear on the 9th.
Okay, so we will meet
Oh.
on the 9th at 6 PM here.
Yes.
Do we have? a
Motion to adjourn.
To adjourn?
I don't want to say.
Anyone to
No,
second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:44.
Wow.
Good one.
Thank
Lovely.
you.
Enjoy, Mel.